Hi you guys, it's Melissa. I'm so glad to see you. Really glad that I get to share with you our story for this week. This month we've been talking about God is our shepherd. And last week we learned a little bit about what a shepherd is and what a shepherd does for his sheep. Want you to think back to that. It was in Psalms 23. There were a lot of different things that Psalm 23 taught us about being a shepherd. What I want you to do is just spend a few seconds thinking about that and see if you can come up with some of the things and tell your mom or your dad or your brothers or sister or whoever it is that you're with, what are some things that a shepherd does for his sheep. I'm going to give you about 15 seconds and then we'll come back. We'll talk. Okay, did you come up with some things? All right, in Psalms 23, some of the things that it tells us is that he provides food for us, he provides for us, he makes sure that we have water, he gives us peace, he gives us direction. During the bad times, he's with us, he leads us. We don't have to be afraid because he's with us. Those are all things that a shepherd does for his sheep. They take their sheep around and they make sure that they have food. They make sure they have water. I think there was a story about earlier about how the shepherd had to protect the sheep from a bear and a lion. David did that when he was a shepherd in the Bible, and when the bear or the lion would attack the sheep, he would keep them away from them. And that's what a shepherd does. He protects them, takes care of them, and provides for them for what they need. So this week, what we want to do is talk about what happens, what does God do when one of the sheep leave? So you think about there's grassy hill in this big field, and there's all these sheep. Let's say there's 100 sheep. There's all these sheep out there, and one of them gets away. You still got 99 left, but one of them gets away. What is a shepherd going to do? What should a shepherd do? Well, what happens is that in Luke 15, Jesus is talking to a bunch of religious leaders, and they're giving Jesus a hard time because he hangs out with some of the people that they don't think are quite as good as they need to be. And what Jesus does is he tells them a story. And when Jesus told these stories, a lot of times he called them parables. And he tells them a story about something that they know about, but it's supposed to teach them about what it is he's wanting them to learn. So Jesus tells them this story, so I'm going to read it to you. It's in Luke 15, verses 3 through 7. Then Jesus told them this parable. Suppose one of you has 100 sheep and loses one of them. Does he not leave the 99 in the open country and go after the lost sheep until he finds it? And when he finds it, he joyfully puts it on his shoulders and he goes home. Then he calls his friends and his neighbors together and says, "Rejoice with me, I have found my lost sheep." I tell you that in the same way, there will be more rejoicing in heaven over one sinner who repents than over 99 righteous persons who do not need to repent. So, what Jesus is doing is he tells them this story about the shepherd who's out there on that hill, has 100 sheep and one of them leaves. And that shepherd's got to decide, do I stay here and take care of these 99 sheep who are doing okay, they have everything they need, or do I go find that missing sheep? And what he tells us is that shepherd goes and finds that one missing sheep. He leaves those sheep that are doing okay, and he goes over here and he tries to find that one sheep. And when he finds it, he picks that sheep up, he carries the sheep over his shoulder, and he takes him home, and he calls his friends. He gets together with his friends, and he said, "I found the lost sheep," and he's excited, and he celebrates because he's found it. And then what Jesus does is he says, okay, this is kind of like what I would do, me as Jesus. If I have one person that start sinning, or they're going away from me and they're not doing what they're supposed to, I want to go find that lost sheep. And when that person comes back to me, when I find them and I bring them back home to me, then heaven, the angels and God and Jesus, everybody is going to be rejoicing a lot, way more than they are over these 99 that are over here, because the 99 didn't need to repent. They didn't need to come back. They were already with Jesus. So they were good, but they're going to be excited and happy because they found the one lost sheep. And so what that tells us is we have to think about is sometimes when we're not doing what we're supposed to, or we make mistakes, or we go away, Jesus is going to love us, and he's going to keep finding us, and he's going to take care of us. Even though we've run off, he's going to come looking for us. And that's pretty reassuring to us to know that he's always there, and he's always going to be there when we come back. Well, that's today's story. I hope you enjoyed it, and think about it this week as you're at school and you're doing different things or you're learning. Just always remember, God's always with me. Jesus is always going to come find me. He's always going to take me back. I don't ever have to worry about running so far away from God that he's not going to take me back. Hope you guys have a great week, and we will see you soon. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.